Sripada Sharanam Prapadhye. Chapter 32. Description and the story of the Navanath. After touching the lotus feet of Sripada Srivallabha, I asked, Lord, I have heard that there are great Siddha yogis named as Navanath, and that they are partial manifestations of Lord Datta. Sri Charan benevolently tell me about them. On hearing the name Navanath, I noticed that ambrosial looks emanated from the eyes of Sri Vallabha into the external creation. I saw in his looks the consciousness of love shown by a mother cow on its young calf. He was pleased and said, My dear ones, Matsendraja, Gorakshaka, Jalandhara, Gahani, Adbanga, Chauranga, Bhartari, Charpata and Naganatha are the Navanaths. A mere remembrance of them will give auspicious results. The grace of Lord Datta would certainly be on those who recollect the names of the Navanath. Some years before the commencement of the Kali Yuga, Sri Krishna, surrounded by great devotees like Uddhava and all Yadavas, thought about the Navanarayans who are now called as Navanath. Emperor Rishabha had 100 sons. Among them, 9 who had the Narayana Amsa were called Navanarayans. Their names are Kavi, Hari, Antariksha, Prabuddha, Pippalayana, Avirhotra, Drumila, Chamasa and Karabhajana. All of them were Siddha Purushas, sages with siddhis, that is supernatural powers, who were in a state of avadhutas. As per my command, and to comply with the promise made in the Krishna incarnation, and to conduct the mission of the establishment of Dharma, they were born on this earth as Navanath. Kavi was born as Matsendranath. Hari was born as a disciple of Matsendranath under the name of Gorakshaka. Antariksha was born as Jalandhara and Prabuddha as his disciple under the name of Kanifa. Pippalayana was born as Charpata. Avirhotra was born as Naganatha. Drumila was born under the name Bhartarinath and Chamasa under the name of Revanath. Karabhajana was born under the name of Gahani. At the beginning of the creation, due to some reason, the semen of Brahma leaked. Sage Vaishya wrote in the Bhavishya Purana that in many places from that semen many sages would be born. There was one Uparichara Vasavu, he was enamored of Urvasi. Once his sperm leaked and fell into the Yamuna river. A fish drank it. From that fish, Matsendranath was born. Shiva burned Cupid into ashes with the fire from his forehead. In that ash, the soul of Cupid stayed in a subtle form. When a king named Bruhadrada was performing a yajna, Jalandharanath emerged from the fire altar of that sacrifice. From the semen of Brahma that fell into the Reva or Narmada river, Revana Siddha, Revanath was born. Some sperm of Brahma fell on the hood of a snake. Thinking it to be food, that snake ate it, so it became pregnant. Janameyajaya was performing Sarpayaga. A sage by the name of Astika rescued this great serpent from destruction. He hid that serpent nymph Padmini, daughter of Takshaka, in the hole of a big Audambara tree. Avirhotra had to be born from the embryo embedded in the womb. The daughter of Takshaka kept the embryo in the hole of the Audambara tree and left for her native place. From that, Avirhotra was born under the title Vatasiddhanaganatha. When Matsindra was wandering in the country, he gave some holy ash charged with mantra to an issueless lady. She had no faith and she threw the ash into the heaps of rubbish and sweepings. Since that holy ash had great power, Gorakhnath emerged from that. During the marriage of Parvati, Brahma, who officiated as the priest for the ceremony, on seeing the beauty of Parvati, became distracted. On account of that, his semen leaked. He was ashamed and he rubbed that semen with the heel of his leg, concealing it from all. That rubbed semen became 60,000 parts, and from that 60,000 sages called Valakiliyas were born. Some part of it that was still left turned into waste and it fell into the river Bhagirathi. It gradually moved into the grassy shrub of the river bank and was caught there. The soul of Pippalayana entered into it, and a Navanath by name Charpatinath was born. A sage by name Kaulika, while going from his hut for collecting alms, kept the begging bowl outside the hut. At that exact time, the sperm of the sun dropped into it. The Maharshi who noticed it preserved it there. Bhartari means begging bowl. So Bhartari Nath was called like that because he was born from the begging bowl. In the Himalaya mountains, in a dense forest, a big elephant was sleeping. On seeing Saraswati, Brahma was smitten with infatuation, and as a result, his sperm leaked. Providentially, that semen fell into the ear of that elephant. A person called Prabuddha took life from it, and as he was born out of the ear of the elephant, he became famous under the name Karnakanifa as one among the Navanath. Gorakhnath prepared a clay human image chanting the Sanjeevani mantra. From that image, due to the efficacy of the Sanjeevani mantra, Karabhajana came to life and was born with the name of Gahaninath. These Navakrishnas, Navanarayans, preserved their gross bodies in Samadhi in the Mandara mountain and incarnated on the earth with their potencies as Navanath and participated in the program of the establishment of Dharma. Then I questioned, victory, victory unto the Guru Sarvabhauma. You said that the Navanath incarnations were the Amsa avatars of the Navakrishnas. Oh Lord, is there any difference between the Navakrishnas and the Navanath? Sripada smilingly directed his looks filled with divine love towards us. He proclaimed, Dear ones, I am the great resolve for all this creation. The resolves of all the gods and goddesses are only fractions of my great resolve. These fractional intentions will have independence to a limited extent. A cultivator ties a cow to a tree. He ties it with a long rope. The cow can graze only up to the distance allowed by the rope. It means that the cow has a determined limited space in which it can graze. It can graze subjected to those limitations. It implies that it was granted a restricted liberty. It can graze freely in the zone of freedom granted to it. If it has crossed those limits for grazing, it must necessarily have the permission of the farmer. When the fodder at that particular place is exhausted, the farmer would tie it to the another tree or lengthen the rope if it is retained at the same tree. In the same fashion, the partial incarnations will be granted independence within the principles of dharma and karma. Therefore, the resolve emanates from the prime nature. The responsibility of implementing it would be entrusted to the partial incarnations. If any problems crop up, these partial incarnations submit those difficulties to the prime phenomenon. They bring the grace from the origin, that is, the prime phenomenon, and cause welfare to the living beings. As the partial incarnations of the main nature do not have bad qualities like lust, hate, arrogance, etc., they are capable of performing all the activities that the prime nature is capable of. Therefore, as far as living beings are concerned, there is no difference between the incarnations, be it a complete incarnation or a partial incarnation. Explanation about Sai Baba. I told you previously that in the future my Samartha Sadguru form with the name of Sai Baba would be imminent. He will choose Shiladinagaram, Shirdi, as his place of work, and he will protect his devotees. That avatar will not be different from my nature. I will make a decision on how much grace should be given and how much should not be given. If Sai Baba is disturbed by his devotees' prayers and asks for more grace from me, I will definitely give. When the nature of the Lord bestows grace on listening to the common man's prayers and anguish, why will it not be granted when Sai Baba asks? So all devotees who follow Sai Baba will definitely be benefited. It is said, Sete Vishramyati iti Sai. The nature of Sai is that one which conciliates the functions of organs. Do realize that the nature of Sai Baba will be in a state of merger within me. Then I asked salutations to Sri Mahaguru. Is Sri Vasavi Kanyaka a complete incarnation or a partial incarnation? Sripada said, in accordance with the promise made by Arya Mahadevi, she was born as the daughter of Kusuma Sresti. If Kanyaka had not incarnated, then the Vaishya caste would have had many mishaps. A Vaishya by name Samadhi noticed this danger in an unexpressed state in the form of a seed. He noticed that from that unexpressed state it would change to the expressed state, sprout, and then become a big tree, and that the Vaishya caste would be wedged in danger. If Ambika had not emerged as Vasavi, then the cruel kings like Vishnuvardhana would marry beautiful girls of ordinary kings like Kusuma Sresti or his relatives and take pleasure from them as their mistresses and make everyone descend in dharma. In order to evade the such happenings to any girl of the ordinary kings and to protect their chastity, self-respect and liking towards their caste, Vasavi entered the fire along with the couples from different Gotras. Liking towards the caste and self-respect should be inducted into the fire, else the Vaishyas having dignity and pride should be burnt. In this critical test of fire, with the grace of Sri Vasavi, Vaishyas became victorious. In return to that sacrifice, people who were in their Gotras were granted wealth and health, having no dearth of food and clothing. Sri Vasavi Kanyaka is only one beaming ray of Arya Mahadevi. The earth cannot withstand that ray of the endless power. Sri Vasavi came as a partial avatar for a specific purpose. All through her 18 years of lifespan, she burned the ill fate of their caste people in Yogagni. The unendurable ill fate is loss of chastity. Recognize that the most ill fate for a woman is loss of chastity rather than wealth or prosperity. When such threat came her way, she attracted such fate of all the people of her Gotras towards her. She established a divine truth in nature by burning herself in the fire along with the couples from 102 Gotras. When she bestowed her real form of Arya Mahadevi, everybody, including Kusuma Srishti, were frightened. My dear, only three can see the true form of chaste women. They give darshan with all their ornaments and Mangala Sutra. While giving darshan to Mahatmas in a higher state than them, while giving darshan to their husbands who married them with fire being the witness, while gracing their true devotees who are at a lower state than them. Vishnuvardhana fell in love with the goddess of death but not Vasavi. The goddess of death prayed Vasavi, "O mother, please let me take your form." Ambika agreed. Then another form of Vasavi emerged, which resembled Vasavi's form. That form merged into the goddess of death. The goddess of death merged into Vishnuvardhana and wrecked his head into 1,000 pieces and came out. This was the real incident that took place on that day. Sripada Rajam Sharanam Prapadhye.